aside a minute your blackface makeup, all right, and put your troops where they're supposed to be, in the front line with our troops. Why does it always have to be American blood? Why does it always have to be our troops? Where's the United Nations? That's what I would have said, all right? Because believe it or not, Congress declares war. Okay, all of these wars you see, they're not wars. The last war that Congress declared was World War II. Korea wasn't a declared war. Vietnam wasn't a declared war. Lebanon, the Iraq wars, none of those were declared wars. Those were all police actions with executive orders or something. None of these were declared wars. And quite frankly, they shouldn't be legal. We have to declare war. And it's Congress who declares war. So that's how important Congress is. So the next time, so when I go to Congress, I'm going to say, okay, you want our troops committed? Then you know what? You Democrats, declare war. Show it to me. And if you're going to do that, you're going to have to do a couple of things. One, you're going to have to either kick Turkey out of NATO, because there are, by treaty, we're supposed to help Turkey against the Kurds. But yet they want us to help the Kurds against our own ally. It can't happen. So you either have to kick Turkey out of NATO, or the United States has to leave NATO. Then you have to declare war, then you have to bring in the United Nations. Nobody, I mean nobody anywhere in the press says anything about this. And it's got to stop. And the reason why is because we don't have the majority, and the Republicans that are there are too afraid to come out and speak on behalf of the president. And I'm not. When I get to Congress, I'm going to pass a bill real quick. It's going to be that Obamacare, although I want to get rid of Obamacare, but we have to be realistic. It may take a while because we don't have the votes. Oh, that's another thing. We haven't been able to get rid of Obamacare. Why? Because we don't have the votes. But anyway, before we get rid of Obamacare, replace it with something else. Pass a provision that says Obamacare can no longer steal from Medicare. Obamacare has, since its inception in 2015, I think it was, they have stolen $700 billion from Medicare and Social Security of our seniors. It's got to stop. It's a left or right. It's not a left or right issue. It's a correct issue. It's got to stop, and it has to stop right now. Donna, thank you. Donna Shalala had an opportunity to stop this. There was a plan in 2018 that would have stopped the rating of Medicare by Obamacare. She voted against that. And you know what? And that's the person that we have representing us. This is our community. This is District 27. District 27 is Miami. Right here where we're at right now. Key Biscayne, Brickell, Little Havana, Alapata, Westchester, West Miami, Westwood, Kendall, East Kendall, Pinecrest, South Miami, Pinecrest, Palmetto Bay, Cutler Bay, and everything in between. Coral Gables. Coconut Grove. Thank you. Say that again. It's a large district, but it's a district that represents us. It's a district that should have somebody that really represents them, representing it. Because Donna Shalala's not from here. The only thing she did here was raid University of Miami, Jackson Memorial, and pretty much dismantle the union, the janitors union. Think about that. I'm about to get to that. The janitors union. I mean, can you think of a more humble union to be a member of, a janitors union? And Donna Shalala just went after it. Seriously, that's who we have representing us. And she was, like you said, she was also the president of the Clinton Foundation. And for those of you who don't remember, the Clinton Foundation stole billions of dollars from Haiti. There was a Haitian earthquake relief fund, and billions of dollars went to the Clinton Foundation, and they built like 21 houses or something. The rest, who knows where it went. And she was the president of the Clinton Foundation. The second thing I'm going to do when I get to Congress, the second thing is protect the Second Amendment. Okay? The Second Amendment must be... Any bill that comes my way that I could see that they're coming up with to do assault weapons or semi-automatic weapons or whatever they want to call it, I'm going to be against it 100%. And that's what Congress does. They vote or not vote for bills or write bills. So that's what I'm going to do. Anything to do with the Second Amendment is going to be shut down immediately. The other thing I'm going to do, thank you. The other thing is fund the building of the wall. We have to fund the building. Believe it or not, President Trump does not have a bill that funds the wall. He doesn't have it. He's been able to maneuver his way through, some back channels, some loopholes, funding for, the armed forces here and there, and he's been able to get some of it done. Much to his credit, he's done a heck of a job finding money, but he doesn't have a bill, and that's wrong. And even we had a Congress for 2 years that we had a majority, and nobody in Congress came up with a bill, wrote a bill that says, hey, let's fund the wall. Well, that's going to change when I get to Congress. The second thing I'm going to do is come up with a bill or help sign a bill that funds the border wall, because it's that important. It really is. Now, immigration is the other thing. Okay, we have to support legal immigration. This is the most generous country on earth when it comes to immigration. We take in over 1 million people each year, more than any country on earth. Okay, and yet the Democrats, they want us to just have a second route to let people in, a second route that they could take to become also illegal immigrants. So there's two routes. You can do the legal one or the illegal one, according to the Democrats. And that's wrong. There should be one, and those that go through the hoops and go through the maneuvers and spend the time to do things correctly, legally, we should respect that and not allow another group to just come in and cut in front of them. That's just wrong. I'm sorry. So I'm 100% for legal immigration. When it comes to the border wall, funding the border wall is great. You build it. But you know what? I'm going to help President Trump bring those troops back from Syria. And guess what? We're going to redeploy them. We're going to redeploy them to the border wall. They're going to be there right behind that wall to support the wall, to make sure that nothing gets through there. Not people coming here illegally, not humans being smuggled. Because you know what? A big portion of the people that go through that wall are people that get kidnapped and put into prostitution illegally. Okay? In the very beginning of the Trump campaign, I sent President Trump a video that I had found, an article from Fusion, Huffington Post. And I was trying to figure out how to get it to him, and I actually asked my friends here, Mercy and Adelaide, how do I get it to, and Terry, how do I get it to President Trump? They said, Twitter. I'm like, okay, fine. Remember, this is the early days when he actually read every tweet. He really did. So I tweeted that article 100 times that night, or maybe 200. I sent it to some people that I knew in Trump Tower, inside the tower, and I sent to some emails that I had for people that worked with him. And basically, the article read that 80% of every illegal immigrant that crossed the border, that's a female, got raped. 80%. And again, it was done by Fusion. It was done by, Univision, basically. So they're not right-wingers. This is a very left-wing article written by a very left-wing group. And President Trump came out with it and brought up the point that 80% of every woman that crosses gets raped. Well, this gotta stop. We gotta stop inviting people to come here illegally and put them in harm's way. Because people think they're just gonna get to the United States and have a better life. They don't know what's to come. They don't know the horror that awaits them. That they're gonna get raped, that they're gonna get put into prostitution, that they're gonna be fed heroin, and that they're gonna be addicted to heroin, and they're gonna be prostitutes because they want heroin, and they're gonna willfully stay there, and that's what's happening. That's what's happening in that border. And people just ignore it. It's gotta stop. Where do those drugs come from? It comes from Colombia and Bolivia. And where does it go through? But let me rephrase this. What part of Colombia? It's called FARC, F-A-R-C. It's a country within a country. It is a communist-controlled country within Colombia that is like an autonomous region, another country, autonomous country, that negotiates with the real Colombia, and they basically do whatever they want. And what they do is they make drugs, they make narcotics, and they ship them here. They make heroin, amphetamines, fentanyl, cocaine, real hard drugs. And where do they ship them through? They ship them through Venezuela, and they ship them through Nicaragua. Okay? And the reason why they were able to do so is because they're all controlled by one guy, Raul Castro. Until we cut off the head of the snake, okay, we're not going to get rid of the drug problem that's coming through our border. And it's not just the drugs, it's the displaced people. There's more displaced people in Venezuela than in any other country in history. Nobody has ever had 20% of their entire population displaced and have to leave and seek refuge somewhere else. Over 6 million people, almost 7 million, since Chavez took over in 1998, has had to leave Venezuela because of Castro, because of communism, because of socialism, whatever you want to call it. It's all the same thing. Okay? We have to stop it. The day we stop it is the day that this stops. And some of the things that I have done, because I've worked with the Directorio, I've worked with the Asamblea de Resistencia Anticomunista. My parents were involved in all this. My dad was in the Directorio back in Cuba. The Brigade 2506, my dad was part of the Marine, the Navy, La Marina de la Brigada. And my aunt who's back there, Mireya, she's taught me very much of how dangerous the Castro Cubans are. And so one of the things that we have done, that we've been able to do lately against that regime, has been the implementation of Articles 3 and 4 of the Helms-Burton Law. Okay? That is the embargo. They stopped the oil coming in from Venezuela for free, because of course, Cuba under the Castros are a parasitic country. They have to suck the blood or the oil from a country somewhere. And they were taking it first from the Soviet Union, and then they replaced the Soviet Union with Venezuela and their oil, and the narcotics from Colombia and Bolivia funneled through Nicaragua and Venezuela. So we have to stop this. The other thing I'm gonna do once I get to Congress is there's an article, there's a House petition called 87-733, which states that Castro cannot intervene, or Cuban Castro cannot intervene in any country in the hemisphere, which means they cannot intervene, they cannot be part in the affairs of any country in the hemisphere, including Venezuela and including Nicaragua. When I get to Congress, they're going to implement that, and 2 countries are going to be free. The first country is going to be Venezuela, and the second country is going to be Nicaragua. Okay, guys, that is my prepared speech. Does anybody have any questions?
You're beautiful, man.
Thank you, brother. She says that my Spanish has gotten so much better.
Oh my God, yes. Roxana Green saw the show. What she's talking about, she says you nailed it.
Thank you.
We love you and support you. Democracia full support.
Yes. All right, hold on. Let me try to get on a microphone. Talk to you guys. I want to get a little closer to this. I want to get you guys. Hold on a minute. My people over here. I'm too far away. I need to get in the middle. I'm sorry. Can you say that again?
On behalf of the democracy movement, Ramon Saúl Sanchez, we all support you. And we support you. Definitely, yes. We love you, and we need people like you that really knows how to talk to us and explain instead of,
Ernie. Vinny's calling you.
You know, she just got out of chemo. Just get out of chemo. Can you believe this? And she's right here with us. She's my cousin, by the way. Got a question?
You're not a politician. This man is not a politician. We came down all the way from Palm Beach because we believe in him, and we believe it's time for let's make Congress red again. Everybody in this room knows, everybody knows, the president is going to win by a landslide. In South Florida, now I'm including all the way up to St. Lucie, Martin County, Palm Beach, Broward, and down here, you lovely people, we love you, I gotta tell you, we love you guys. In so many ways. We are here tonight. I brought with me another fellow that's running for Congress. His name is Nick Vesio. He's to my right. He's just going to let you know.
Thank you very much. We had quite a journey to get down here, which I'll save for another time. However, it was fun. Okay. So, not only do we have to make Congress red again, we have to actually bring in 4 to 5 seats in South Florida and change the direction of the United States. Because we drastically need to get the House back. Otherwise, we're going to lose our country. I'm retired police intelligence. I'm a 9/11 survivor. I come from a military family. These dog tags are my father's. He's a war hero, my father. Starting from the Eisenhower, breaking the Nazi code. I wear him over my heart. We had him until he was almost 91. So when you come from a family of honor and integrity, okay, this is what's missing in our culture today. We don't teach civics in our school. Our kids don't know one thing about our country. Nothing. I'm astounded when I talk to people, even adults. I told some kids at Wawa the other day in Stewart, I said, I heard that the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor. These kids said, oh my God, when? When? 70 years ago, when? Get your head from out, Oh, wake up, smell the roses, okay? I teach my 3 grandkids who are 13, 11, and 6. I gotta teach them police takedown moves. This is pathetic that we have to resort to this, okay, in our country to this day. Thank you very much, Juan. You have our blessings. Don't worry.
Thank you so much. Who got a question?
Thank you, Juan. You mentioned something earlier about communism and socialism being the same thing. And someone of Eastern European background, my ancestry was behind the Iron Curtain. I wonder what you would tell the Pelosi's and AOC's when they say communism and socialism aren't necessarily the same thing, when the communist Russian Empire was called the USSR, not the USCR, Union of Soviet Socialist Republics.
Okay. Does anybody here know what socialism means? I'll make it very simple for you. In this country, in this great republic, we have individual rights, guaranteed by our Constitution, by the Bill of Rights. In the socialist country, you have collective rights, or rights of the collective, which means the government gives you your rights, which basically means you have no rights. You have whatever privileges. Whenever Raul Castro wakes out of bed, he wakes out on his left side of the bed, he lets you, do a balada or do some kind of restaurant, and if he wakes up on the right side of the bed, he takes it away. That is socialism in a nutshell. You have no rights.
I know we talked about it, but I want you to talk to the people. We're seeing young people today really embrace the idea of socialism. It's because of people. It's because of people like AOC and this squad that they. How are we going to get into the minds of kids who believe that something like socialism is a good thing, and see someone like AOC pushing it, and she doesn't even know what she's talking about?
Thank you, Angie. That's a great question. I think that the best thing we can do is get in Congress and start getting in front of TV and explain to them. It's just a matter of lack of rights. The other thing is, and this is the reason why I actually got into politics in the first place, was because I thought that we should have school choice. Just because you live in a certain zip code, you're obligated to go to a public school down the street from you, and that's it. Why? Why can't you go to a parochial school? Why can't you go to a Jewish school? Why can't you go to a Catholic school? Why can't you choose for your own children? I mean, this whole thing about, Republicans don't want to give choice. Yeah, we do. It's the Democrats who don't. They want you, according to your zip code, to go to a public school and learn what they teach you there, and they want to have everybody, the entire country, teach exactly the same thing, which is Common Core. And as you all know, that doesn't work. So that was the reason why I got into politics in the first place. And I think I'm going to push, school choice and vouchers. And not just for, charter schools. Not just for charter schools, because charter schools teach the same thing as public schools. We want parochial schools, private schools. And you know what's going to happen? And conservative schools, yeah, you have the choice to do whatever you want. But what's going to happen is this. They're going to take this little answer that I just gave Angie, and when I go to the general election, and they're going to make me pay for what I just said. You know what they're going to say? They're going to say, Juan Fiol wants to cut the budget of public schools. Juan Fiol wants to fire teachers. That's what they're going to say. And that's nothing could be further from the truth. The schools are there for the children, not the other way around. I feel like Phil Donahue.
This is what we have to stop.
If the parents want to stop it, then they need to vote for a conservative. And I'm right here, Juan Fiol.
Hi. So Miami is very culturally diverse. My son-in-law was brought here from Argentina when he was 5 years old. He's under the DACA program. What are we going to do about that?
The President Trump actually offered a solution to the DACA program. He had the 5 pillars. Secure the wall, okay? Stop chain migration, okay? Merit-based immigration. Just come here legally and stuff. He had an entire plan for it. And he gave it to the Democrats. And you know what the Democrats did? They decided to play politics. And you know what? They said, well, what about everybody else? Like, wait a minute. You asked about DACA. Trump gave you a plan for DACA. It was a great plan. What did they do? Nothing. They flushed it down the toilet. So, and Obama had the Senate and Congress for almost 8 years, did nothing about it. I liked the Trump plan, which is secure the border, stop the visa lottery, chain migration. You come here, through legal merit. I am willing to listen to that, and I am willing to support President Trump in that. And if we have a majority of Congress, maybe we will do that. Remember something. People tend to forget. The 2 great amnesties that we're giving in this country were given by Republican presidents, okay? Ronald Reagan and George H.W. Bush, okay? And they said each time that we were never going to have another flood of immigrants, illegal immigrants, okay? And that this was never going to happen. It'll happen once and it's going to take care of it. Well, here we are, 30 years later, and we have another 17 million illegals, But or more, who knows? That's so the whole DACA thing. Yes, we have a plan. The Democrats said no. My cousin Papo.
The gentleman here that talked about history and about teaching his grandkids. Listen, it's no wonder that the left is so powerful today and that half of this country favors socialism. You've been around, I've been around. One of the teachers of this country, whether it's high school or college, been teaching since the 60s.
They've gone from higher levels of education to higher levels of indoctrination. Yes. This is what's happening.
For decades, right? So are we wondering why our kids don't know about history and that's all they've been taught. So it's our responsibility to turn that tide.
That's correct.
With the groundwork and electing people like Juan.
We've lost one generation already.
We have.
They're gone. So we have to hope that the next generation will learn properly. Teach kids.
We can't fall asleep on that, right? Because we all know you went through college, I went through college, and you disagree with all your teachers. But we kind of didn't pay attention, but that's not him.
I went to Georgia College of Criminal Justice. It was war in the classroom. We actually had the teachers leave the room. We said, get out.
Well, that's why we have this. It should be no surprise. If you, for decades, you teach our children this, of course they're going to feel this. That's what we're.
Thank you. It's my cousin Manuel Rodriguez Fiol.
Hi, Juan. How are you doing today? How's everybody else doing today? Okay, I wasn't going to ask a question, but this is personal, and I want what are you going to do about the question I'm about to ask you once you get to Congress? My daughter is a full-time single mom. She's a full-time worker with 2 jobs, working 8 days a week. And she's a full-time student, 4.0. And I got a 3-year-old granddaughter. She could not graduate 2 months ago because nobody would give her a loan, and she pays $500 a month for health care. She has to take out all these loans. My parents came here legally, had to wait 4.5 years after defeating a dictatorship in the Dominican Republic. We were born. We have our kids now, and our grandkids. They have dreams too. But in her classroom, there were 3 dreamers. They got a free ride. They get a full scholarship. They get full health care, not pay a dime. So what about our kids and our kids' dreams and our grandkids' dreams? What are we going to do about that?
It's called Put America First. No, it's got to stop. It's absolutely absurd that I'm even listening to this, because it shouldn't be that way. It's absolutely wrong. It's just beyond that. You're an American, and they're not. They're illegals. They shouldn't have more privileges than you, or they do. And it's gotta stop. Gotta stop. And when I got to Congress, I am, the one thing I can promise you, this is an America First agenda, 100%. Any other questions? I really feel like Phil Donahue. This is... My hair gets a little whiter.
First of all, Juan, let me say that you're a tremendous individual, and I've known you for many, many years. So you've never changed.
Not that many, I'm not.
But you've always remained the same, and you're a class act. I just want to also... so my question for you is I heard you talk about taking out the head, Cuba, and that way Venezuela and Nicaragua can be free. Now currently, people are using the immigration system in a legal way. A lot of Venezuelans have come here and they have declared political asylum, yet they're in a state of flux. They're in a state where, you're not, you can't really tap into like the gentleman was saying, the school system. A lot of young kids from Venezuela cannot go to school. And I'm talking about this because my girlfriend from San Jose is from Venezuela, and that is very near to her heart. That her son is also a 4.0 student. He's about to graduate high school, and he wants to go into the military, and he wants to do many things, but because of the his political asylum status, and he's using the legal system, he cannot really, they cannot approve any type of student aid or scholarships of any sort. So we also have to look at the immigrants that are using the legal system and what we can do for them as well here when they're here, and also to see if we can do something for the Venezuelan people that are here asking for asylum. If we could do something the way when our came from Cuba and asked for political asylum because there was communism in their country, and I think Venezuela has communism in their country, and the people that have escaped that also deserve some sort of legal status, permanent legal status.
It's a great question. Venezuela is a complicated issue, and I thank you for your question. If they're coming here legally, like he just said, they should have the $7 million people have left Venezuela since Hugo Chavez. If you go to the border wall right now, the vast majority of those coming in through certain entry points are those coming from Venezuela. Okay? When you seek asylum to this country, by law, the wet foot, dry foot was thrown out the window, and right now all Cubans have to come like every other immigrant. And I really think that Venezuelans don't want to come here. I think Venezuelans want to get rid of Maduro, I'm sorry. Maduro, Hugo, it was all the same thing. They're all a bunch of communists. So we have to get rid of the communists. And again, the way to get rid of the communists is by cutting off the head. And the head is
I have a TV show called Bajo el Sol de Miami, which is going to back you up 100%, no doubt. Definitely. Something that bothers me, I never went back to Cuba. There's also a university in Cuba that they named Luis Casas Romero. And that's something that bothers me because Luis Casas Romero was a fighter. He was against communism. And being against communism, if he would be born again, he would see this university there when all the children that go to schools in Cuba don't even know who this gentleman was. And they put it like, wow, Raúl Castro, his favorite song is El Mambis, that was created by my great-grandfather. And that is something that really upsets me. So what are you going to do about the arts and not letting all these, people that come to Miami and to, the United States of America just to live out of us in concerts and singing and all that stuff?
I want you to know that I was 100%, and I still am, for taking away the visas of gente de zona. In case you guys remember, I went on a show, Hola. And I just let it rip. I told everybody, look, these artists that come here, because it's very simple. Gente de zona are here under the Cuban Adjustment Act, which basically means that you're supposed to be afraid of your regime. So then if they're afraid of the regime, how come they're doing concerts with the regime? You know what they are? They're agents of the regime. They're helping the regime because they did it. There was a day of the Virgin, and they did it the day before to take away all the spotlight from the resistance movement that was going to occur the next day. So they're working with the Seguridad Estado, with the Cuban security. Exactly. They're working directly with the regime for propaganda. And that's illegal. They should be arrested, if you be honest with you. So yes, definitely, I think this should not occur, and any artist or whatever that works for the regime. I mean, if they don't, that's one thing. They have a right to their opinion. But if they're going to go work with the regime, hello, no, they shouldn't be here. And again, if you're going to seek asylum, political asylum, you better be afraid of that regime, whether you're from Cuba, Venezuela, or Nicaragua, wherever. Because we know there's a lot of people that come here from Venezuela, and they spend $2 million on a condo in Brickell or in Doral, and we know that they go back to Venezuela. So hello, they're working with the regime. Why are we letting them in? You know who's affected by that? The people over here that I just heard. They're trying to put their kid through college, a 4.0 student, doing things the proper way. And yet those that abuse the system are the ones that get away with everything. So, with murder. So you know what? It's going to stop. Okay? Again, it's an America First agenda, and it's a legal agenda, legal immigrant agenda, and enough of the abuses. Thank you. All right. I think everybody's fired up here today. All right. Muñeca wants a question. Hold on.
I have a very, very deep
question.
Oh, that's bad. I mean, don't get me, man.
Yes, it is difficult. I know, and to me it's very difficult to ask this. But in theology, the theology of St. Thomas of Aquinas says that when there is genocide,
Yes.
military actions are not only justified, but necessary. So my question is, would you consider encouraging and supporting military intervention in any of these great nations that are going through genocide and that are a threat to our nation?
Yes. And I'll tell you why. Because the illegal drugs that are coming through Venezuela, Nicaragua, the FARC, affect this country directly. It is an assault on this country. Not only that, but they're affecting their neighbors. All of the region, all South America is destabilized. And it's going to hurt us sooner or later. We now have a Castro puppet in Mexico.
That's true.
Can you imagine if Mexico turns into Venezuela? It's a reality. It's a possibility. It's almost there. I mean, we saw Diaz-Canel leave Mexico a couple days ago. What was he doing there? He was asking for oil. Mexico has lots of oil. Imagine if they start subsidizing Cuba. They'll turn into Venezuela immediately. This is a big problem. And the head of the snake is Castro. Yes, we have to get the Castros out of Venezuela and Nicaragua. And the way to do it, I already explained, is you start with Proposition 87-733, which is already in Congress, which states that Cuba cannot interfere in the affairs of any country in the hemisphere, including Venezuela and including Nicaragua. That's what I'm trying to get. In other words, when they take the troops out of Venezuela, the Cuban troops, the Castro troops, the specially trained troops with the arms and the technology of the former Soviet Union and China, the Maduro regime does not stand a chance against this people. So we have to get the Cubans out. And we have to get them out of Nicaragua, because Nicaragua as well has been crushed by the Cubans that are there, the Castro Cubans that crushed the uprisings. So you take, the first step is to get the troops out and see if the people are able to get rid of their dictators. And I think that they can. And if not, then we have to, again, like I said before, get other countries involved. In our hemisphere, we have the Organization of American States. And as a matter of fact, you and I were there yesterday with Luis Almagro. I was right behind him the whole time, and he is 100% for a coalition to go in and take care of whatever needs to be taken care of in Venezuela and Nicaragua. We start by getting countries that can help. Brazil is 100% on board. Colombia as well. Chile, well, I don't know about anymore, but they were. Peru. We have to get the other countries involved, so the United States does not go in it alone. But the minute that we get the Castros out of Nicaragua and out of Venezuela, I know they're going to be free. And the way to do that is by implementing Proposition 87-733. And when I get to Congress, you could bet that President Trump will enforce it. Okay, guys, I think that's been enough. All right, Isabel, one last question.
Out of all the other candidates in the primary, why are you the best candidate?
Because the other candidate is a socialist in disguise. María Elvira Salazar coquetea con el socialismo. So she's not one of us. She's not a Republican, and she's not for the administration of our legitimate president, Donald J. Trump. And we all should vote for Juan Fiol because he stands with us, with the president, with our values, and with the Lord, our God.
I couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you. All right. Whoa, sorry. Barbara has the last question.
Vote for Juan Fiol for Congress. He's the one. I just wanted to tell you, yes, I agree that America is first. Cuba is first also. Okay, so what are your plans to make Cuba greater? Great again. Yes. And what are your plans for your legislative plans for District 27?
Okay, thank you. Again, I think I answered it a minute ago. We have to get 87-733 approved, and that is going to take care of the Castros, and we'll take it from there. And legislatively, first thing I said, I'm going to make sure that Obamacare stops stealing from Medicare. That's the first thing I'm going to pass. The second thing is wall funding, and then, proposition or 87-733 that's in Congress since 1963, and it hasn't been implemented, hasn't been enacted, hasn't been enforced. I'm going to make sure that we get it enforced. Okay, guys, thank you. Thank you very much.